So I want to welcome each and every one of us to this training today. We are looking at Microsoft Project 2016. So this course has been divided into 15 modules, and we are going to quickly run through the 15 modules, and we are going to be taking the modules one by one. The first module has to do with the introduction to Microsoft Project. We are going to look at how project relates to the discipline of project management. We are going to navigate through the ribbon. We are going to get accustomed to the interface. All right. Then we are also going to look at how to access the backstage. All right. We are going to understand the essential steps in building a successful project plan. Then module 2 has to do with an overview of managing with projects. All right, how to create a new project, how to enter project tasks, the sequence of activities, to define resources, to estimate task duration. We're going to learn about baseline and how to track project progress. All right, so we go to module 3. Module 3 is all about how to use multiple methods to create a new project from Excel sheet or from a SharePoint task list. We're going to establish one or more calendars to constrain resource availability. All right, then we're going to configure our project to be able to calculate schedules from start date forward and from finish date backward. Then in module 4, we're going to learn the importance of how to schedule manually or how to schedule automatically. All right, we are going to see the difference. We are going to see the advantages and the disadvantages of scheduling manually and scheduling automatically, and we're going to look at in what situations do we need to schedule in both cases. All right, then we go to module 5. Then we go in depth into what a work breakdown structure is, and how we can build up our project schedule by breaking it down into smaller manageable chunks. Then module 6, we are going to explore task relationships and how we can relate our tasks to each other. That is what module 6 is all about. We go to module 7. In module 7, we're going to look at resources, how to assign resources to our tasks is what module 7 is all about. Then module 8, we are going to look at how to incorporate estimates, what we understand by task work, by task resources, and how to calculate our task duration. That is what module 8 is all about. Then we go to module 9. In module 9, we are looking at how to calculate floats, how to look at our critical paths, how to understand our task constraints, create milestones, task inspectors for troubleshooting. All right, then we go to module 11. Module 10 is how to create a resource leveled schedule. You understand, when you have resources across projects and you want to use a pool of resources to do multiple projects. So we're going to look at how to achieve that. Then how to manage project in module 11. That has to do with how to track our project progress using different methods, and how to provide, and also to do some analysis and the baseline, how to work with baselines. All right, we go to module 11. That has to do with formatting and our outputs, how we are going to print our output in such a way that it will be enticing, it will be professional, and it will be presentable. Then module 13 is about managing multiple projects, and module 14 we look at some advanced topics. We look at how to customize some feeds, how to do value analysis and some other analysis. And then in module 15 we are going to summarize all the things that we have learned, and we are going to give us a takeaway. So this is what this training is all about. This is the outline for the training. Thank you. So welcome to module 1. In module 1, we want to get ourselves accustomed to Microsoft project interface. So a Microsoft project interface is like every other Microsoft Office interface, where you have the menu, where you have here of course you have tasks and a lot of activities under a lot of lists under each of the menu. So we are going to take time to just get ourselves accustomed to this interface. So if you want to start a project, the first thing you need to do is you need to set up your project. You need to do some settings, and in order to achieve that, you go to your options. So we're in the options interface. We have the general menu. Under the general menu, you can set your date profile. We have different formats for project dates. Your username and your initials that will appear at the back of your project when you are at the bottom of your project when you are creating it. You can set your theme. Is here it's colorful, it can be dark gray, it can be white, as the case may be. Alright, you can go to your display. In your display, you can choose the kind of calendar. Alright, in this part of the world we use the Gregorian calendar. Here we use the Gregorian calendar, and you can set your currency. I'm from Nigeria, and here the currency is NGN. If you do not have NGN in your maybe earlier versions of Microsoft project, like 2010, 2007, 2013, some versions might not have the currency, but this version of Microsoft project, which is 2016, has the Nigerian Naira there. You can set your currency. Alright, so you can leave all those ones. You can go to your schedule. When do you want your project to start? When do you want your week to start? Week starts on Monday. Alright, when do you want your year to start? You can change it. At times some projects, the way they run on weeks, and maybe the project might not be starting by January. You can make changes here. When do you want time Microsoft project to start calculating your time? When do you resume on site? Is it 8 o'clock in the morning? You set it. When do you close? How many hours do you work in a day? If it's 8 hours, you set it there. So by default, Microsoft project works for 5 days a week, 8 hours per day. That is why you have 40 hours per week. Alright, and that makes us to have 20 days in a month. Alright, how do you want Microsoft project to schedule based on percentage? No, by default, you want your tasks to be scheduled manually or automatically. You can choose from there. When you begin to set your program of work, your project start date, your days, your duration, how do you want it to be entered? Do you want it in hours? Some plans, they are done in hours. Some can be in weeks, some can be in months. Depending on the nature of your project, you can determine, but it is ideal to put it in days, right? So we leave it in days. Some work are entered in hours also. Your default task type, we have 3 task types. We have fixed unit, we have fixed duration, and we have fixed work. In our subsequent modules, we will take time to look at what these task types are. Alright? So you can leave the other ones. You can go to your proofing. You don't have any issue here. You leave it, your save. Your default saving format. The default saving format for Microsoft Project is MPP. Alright? That's the default saving. If you are sending your file to somebody that has a lower version of Microsoft Project, maybe they have 2007. If you do it in 2016, if they will not be able to work on it, you can by default choose 2007 so that they will be able to open it. Alright, so we leave that. We go to your language. You don't have any problem there. You speak English. You go to advanced. Under the advanced, your standard rate. Do you want it in hours? Over time, do you want it in hours or days? You can set that there. Okay, so we leave this. This is okay for now. Add in if you want to add some additional softwares in conjunction with what you have. So that should be okay for settings. Then you click OK. Alright, so we have done some settings for Microsoft Project. Now we want to get ourselves accustomed with the menus we have. We have the file menu like we have in every other Office tool. We have the Office, we have the info. Of course, it's just about the software, particular one that has been installed. We are not connected to the project web app. We don't need that for now. This information is about the project that I just opened, right? Okay, if you want to create a new project, you can create from here. If you are starting from scratch, you can click a blank project. If you want to import from existing project, you can click this. And if you have some list of items from an Excel sheet, you click this. Then if you want to, you also have some list from SharePoint, you can click it. But if you are starting a project newly, you just click a blank project. Then if you have need to open an existing project, you can do that. If you want to save, you can save. You can print, you can share, you can export. Alright, you can export in PDF. Alright, you can save project as a file. If you want to save a project as a template, this is where you do that. Alright, then you can close it to your account to show the validity of your license. The project is activated. Alright, so that's what we have under file. Then you have the task menu. So under the task menu, we have these views. So these are the views that are available. You can, if you want to be seeing only calendars, whereby you have your activities listed in your calendar, you can have that view. If you want to be seeing the normal view is this view, and we call it a Gantt chart. All right, this is what most project planners use. We have the Gantt chart. All right, then we have the network diagram. There are some people that likes working with network diagrams. The network diagram shows you the relationship like a work radar schedule. Then we also have the resource sheet that has to do with your resources that are involved in your project. Then we have resource usage. This has to do with how the work that has been assigned to them, how it's being done per time. You can do that under the resource form. We have the resource form also that gives you information about a particular resource, their engagement, their rate, and stuff like that. Then we have the resource graph also. It shows resources that are overallocated, underallocated, and stuff like that. We have the task sheet. The task sheet does not have the bar side to it. It's just only tasks that you have there. You can choose any view that you want based on what you want to do. So we have the team planner also. The team planner gives you information about your resources, their task, and the date in front of them. All right, then the timeline. Timeline basically has to do with when you select an activity. We have selected an activity. The timeline will be displayed here also. So we have the tracking Gantt also. The tracking Gantt has added some additional columns to what we have. And when you click tracking Gantt, some cost elements is also displayed for you. Alright, so you can create more views on your own. You can choose the view you want to create. You can choose any one of them. You can apply it and they can be displayed. Alright, so that is all about the views that we have under task. Of course, you can cut, you can paste activities like you do in your normal Word or Excel. You can format your texts. You can change your font. All right. You can bolden it, italics it, underline it. You can change the background color. You can change the color of your text. All right. Now, what we have here are basically for tracking the progress of your activity. I make an example for us now. If we look at this activity, this 3-bedroom bungalow project, the overall completion time is 34%. Okay, these activities, the sub-activities have been rolled up because if you have scheduled it automatically, when you update an activity here, it automatically calculates the overall time for completion. By just getting ourselves accustomed with the interface, we will get to the nitty-gritty later. So if you want to change the percentage complete for this activity, it's either you enter it manually or you can use this predetermined figure to update it. You can see the impact of a singular activity, which is foundation block work, on the overall completion of that project. The way you structure and you create hierarchy for your activities will determine the weight and the impact on a project. And of course, this is a function of the duration. relative to the global duration of that project. That's what gives it the weight. All right. So you can use these icons to update the progress of your work. If you open your system and this column is not displayed, all you just need to do is to go to the last column there. You will see add a new column. You click it. So we have so many columns that you can add. We're going to be looking at some of them. Definitely you will not need all of them, but some of them that are relevant. When you click some views here, some relevant columns are displayed. If you are interested in costs, some activities that are related to cost will come up. You understand? So some activities that are related to cost will come up when you choose some of these ones. But if you are not able to choose what you want here, you can always create or select any view that you want from this drop down that we have here. All right, so let's go. So that is that about updating. Then we have the two icons here. One is outdent and the other is indent. We use these two icons to create hierarchy. Indent and outdent. We use it to set this hierarchy. If you look at this project, this project has been divided into two main tasks, which are substructure and superstructure. So then under the substructure, we have some further activities and we have some further activities under them. So when you want to create these levels, you use this. Now look at something. I have clicked site clearing and setting out. When I indent, outdent to the left, look at it. What I have done is that this site activity, I have made it to be in the league of this substructure. So how to play around with this, we will discuss it properly. So I go back. So for instance, this substructure, if I want it to be in the same hierarchy, the same level with bedroom, all I just do is I indent it. If I want it to go the other way, if I want it to go further, I click. This one can still go further. Okay, when an activity is 100% completed, you are not flexible enough to create further indents there. All right. So indent and outdent, we will still talk more about how to use it. Then we have this activity for splitting a task. For instance, there are some activities that are interrelated. There are some activities that you need to split them. You can't do them at a go. For instance, plastering. You can prime your wall. Some guys will still need to come, maybe the AC guys will still need to come and install their AC because they will still smear the wall. You leave some time for some activities to happen before you do your final finishing. So what you do with that is that you will use this split task to create. If you are spending 5 days for painting, You can use 2 days to do first quote. Some guys are still coming to work. They will spend some time before you are able to come back. Your activity is still 5 days, but that 5 days can be done over a longer period of time. So what you do is you use this icon to split that task. So as an example, some of these activities are 100%. Let me just use an activity that is not 100%. So in order to split an activity, let's look for an activity that is not, let's say, 3 days, right? Okay, let's look at this activity. This activity is 3 days, right? But it can happen over a longer period of time, even though it's just 3 days. You click the icon for split, then you come here, you split it. Alright, even though it's still 3 days, but it's happening over a longer period of time. That's what that is for, basically. Alright, then the next icon we have is to link. Is what we use to achieve relationship with a project. I mean, with two tasks rather. Some tasks, okay, let's look at this relationship. These icons that we are seeing here shows that these activities are linked, but the linkage can come in 4 different ways. The relationship between those activities can come in 4 different ways. We have finish to start, start to start, finish to finish, and start to finish. So it's very simple and straightforward. Activity A and activity B. Does one have to start at the same time? If it's starting, both are starting at the same time, you click start to start. If they are finishing at the same time, you click what? Finish to finish. So that's just the relationship. So you will choose the one that you want. Alright? Then another thing is the lag. What does the lag do? The lag, even though we have a relationship, you can still have some number of days before and after. If you are lagging forward, it means even though this activity is start to finish, but I still need some time because of some other activities before they happen, even though they are still related. We will get to learn about that. Alright, so this is you can use this to link, you can use this to what? To unlink. Alright, so if I click 2 activities and I click, you can see there's a relationship with them. I click on link, you can see that I've unlinked them. They are linked back. So this arrow is showing that they are linked together. There's a kind of relationship between those activities. Alright, so mark activities on track. You can mark them on track. You can update tasks. We will look at that. You can respect links when there are constraints and you don't know what to do. Then you can make a task to be inactive when you don't want to. You can't activate a task that is in progress. If an activity is 0, you can inactivate it. So you can set whether to make an activity manual or to make it automatic. When you make an activity automatic, you give the permission to Microsoft Project to help you do some calculations on your behalf. But if you are, one of the major advantage of scheduling activities automatically is the fact that it helps you to be able to calculate and to respect the relationship that you have with that activity. If you are making a change, for instance, if I increase the duration of this activity. I make it 2 days. You can see that the next activity is pushed forward by that 2 days because they are related. But if I have scheduled it manually and this relationship is not there, even though this one is moving forward, the other one will not move forward. So when you schedule activities automatically and you create relationship with them, if I change one, it will affect everything. It will move everything forward. But if I don't schedule it automatically and I don't establish the relationship, it's a lot of work to make corrections. Because you know that if your start time for an activity or excavation has changed, you know, it will affect every other thing. But if you have scheduled it automatically and you've established a relationship with them, then everything will move forward at the same time. So you can expect your activities to show warnings, alright, to show areas where you have issues. You can move those activities, you can set the mode. Your task is here, your current task, blank row. Then we have your milestone and your summary. You can format it there. Then you have your information. Also, when you click information, it gives you an information of a particular task. Alright, so that's what we have on that task. Then under resources, we have team planner. We have how to assign resources. We have resource pool. You need to share. When you want to share resources, you do here. Alright, then if you have added resources, you can add it here also. You can level options, you can care leveling, you can show over location here. Then we have reports. In Microsoft Project, we have excellent reporting formats that when you enter you update your progress as at when due. If you have inputted cost elements into your project, you get result reports that will help you to be able to keep track of your costs. So what are the reports that are available? We have burn down, how much activity has been done. We have cost overview, we have project overview, we have upcoming tasks, we have work overview, and we have a lot of other reports that has to do with cost, that has to do with progress. Then you want to do a new report that you want to show some analytics from charts and bars and graphs. Then you want to customize your report. You are able to do that. Reports on resources, on cost, on progress. Customize one visual report. You can export to Visio. You can export to Excel. All right. I asked this question in our pre-test. You can export to Microsoft Excel. You can export to Microsoft Visio. All right. So those are reports. Then under your project menu, you are able to add some sub-projects. You can import, you can install some apps, some add-ins or plugins. Your project information is very important at the beginning of the project. You need to be able to select the start date, the current date, and the status date. What is the difference between the current date and the status date? The current date is the date for that day. Most times the current date and the status date can be the same. But when you want to run a report, you can choose a status date that is before to run a report based on that date. Alright. Then you want to schedule from project start date or project finish date. So you can either start your scheduling either from the day you want to start or the day you plan to finish. Alright. So we go to, then we have project information, custom fields. Here you can do some kind of logic, kind of programming for your project. Here we will look at that into detail later. Custom fields. Alright, you can link project, your work breakdown schedule. You can define codes. You can use code to run reports and to track some items, to do some filtering there. Then you can change your working time here. If you want to work on holidays, you can manipulate your calendar here. We'll still go into details about that. Create your own specific calendar for your project. You can calculate your project when you have updated your schedule. You can set your baseline, which is a snapshot of your schedule that includes information about tasks, resources, and assignments. You can compare multiple baselines to see how your project has changed over a period of time, and you can also move your project. You can update your project. You can check your spelling. Under view, you can view some of these the views that we have here. You can also view them, go to them directly from here. You can highlight activities here, active activities. You can highlight them, incomplete activities. You can highlight them, milestones, late tasks. So you want to see in a jiffy which activities are not completed, you just highlight. You want to see in a jiffy which activities are late, you highlight them. Which activities are completed, you highlight them. You can do that. You can filter here also. You can group your time scale. You can change it. Do you want to see it in weeks? You want to see it in months? All right. At a glance, at a view, you can do that. You can zoom in. You can zoom out. You can zoom entire project. If you want to see your timeline up here, you can review it. If you want to see your detail down here, you can view it. If you don't want it, then you can switch from window to window, right? If you have two projects open, you can choose. Then you can do macro. We look into detail how to record macros. Then you can do a lot of formatting on your bar scale, on your text, on your views. You can format your grid line, your layout. You can insert column here, right? You can insert your columns. You can hide your columns. You can format your bar, your style, your slack, your late activities. You can format them as you want. Your critical tasks, your task paths, predecessors, driving predecessors. You can format your baseline. Basically, this menu is for formatting. You can format your slippage at a glance. You can see activities that are slipping. Then you can outline your numbers, your project summary, your summary task. So you can even draw. All right, you can draw shapes to. You understand, to make some examples, to make some illustrations on your Gantt area. So that is all for the introduction to the interface of Microsoft project. In our next module, we will be looking at how to do a simple program of work. Thank you.